A very interesting thing in the US poultry market has been the development of the passion for white meat. Obviously, if you take the breast meat off a chicken, you're left with the dark meat, the leg and the thigh, and the neck and the back. As a consequence, there is more and more of the dark meat, which is imported from the United States of America. And that has really been the threat to our market at this point. When the cost of producing a pound of breast chicken meat in the States is very likely about 50 cents. It was being offered to Jamaica as low as 20 cents a pound. This had a traumatic effect in terms of our local industry and our ability to compete. There's no doubt that the markets in our region have been targeted by the US industry in terms of penetrating and supplying those markets at the detriment to the local industry and the possible loss of jobs.
The labor dispute involving management and workers who were made redundant at the Jamaica Broilers Spring Village plant in St. Catherine turned nasty today. Over 200 chicken farmers who've been suffering losses since the shutdown of the plant protested to bring attention to their plight. Former workers demonstrating outside the plant clashed with the police, resulting in an all-out brawl in which a number of persons were injured and a vehicle belonging to the plant set on fire. Mr. Wildish noted several initiatives had been taken without success to achieve international competitiveness.
We're told that we've got to find areas we can compete. And we say, what? What are these niche markets that we're meant to be going after? They tell us, well, peppers and spices and these things, you should be able to grow those efficiently, and you do have tourism.
Karen, you are right in the white. Glenn, you are right in the green crab. And Robin, you are right in the yellow. So on the count of three, we're going to set the crabs free. Remember, no sudden movements. 1, 2, 3. All right. Everybody is up, but the red is in the lead now just by 2 crab lengths, and it could be stopped in the middle. The yellow hasn't moved up to now. We don't know what's happening with him. The white has now taken over the lead. The green is still on the go. The green is still on the go. Patricia is coaching her crab. So the white crab is the winner of that race.
Up to you to tell us who you think has the best tan. You can see Scott is well tan. Says Tim, turn around so that everybody can see your tan. Huh?
Nobody said competing against Guy.
Oh, never mind.
Circumstances made me what I am. Was I born a violent man?
When I got here, we had about maybe 120 guards. Today, we're probably about 1,900 guards. We have 300 dogs, and we have branches all over the island.
It sounds strange, might sound foolish, but things are getting better. Every day another fall victim to the beret.
Is it a growing industry? I would say yes, it is. I mean, with the high crime rate, you know, there's always a need to protect life and property. We do work for the hotels, all the homes, we do home protection and so on.
Circumstances made me what I am. Was I born a violent man?
The violence causes a lot of death. And the violence. Without the violence, you wouldn't have so much people really dead still, you know. I met the first of them for about 30 odd years. About 30 odd years. Met the French house about 2 years ago now. I started to make the coffee them. The furniture thing kind of get slow like. But you know it to sell.
I feel the day may never come when I come to wake to the sound of drum. Never living in this carnival.
And in the end, you know, you struggle, you survive, and much suffering later, I suppose you slowly begin to come out the other end. But the country that comes out is nothing like the country that it could have been.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay.
Undeniably, globalization has provided enormous opportunities for growth, investment, and transfer of know-how and technology.
Where does Jamaica stand now is interesting. Incidentally, there is an IMF program with Jamaica at the moment. We're not lending them money, but we have what's called a staff-monitored program.
We don't have an IMF agreement. We are following what the IMF would have wanted us to do on an agreement anyway. So the influence of IMF is still very much here. We're not getting any IMF money, but we're still doing what they want us to do.
Tonight there are violent protests over higher taxes and fuel prices in Jamaica.
As many as 6 people have been reported killed in the unrest that is sweeping across that Caribbean island.
It escalated in the past 24 hours, an 18-year-old dead at this home. The jump in the gas tax is hard in a country with many poor. The government defends it as a way to pay for bank failures, but now suggests there may be room for compromise.
Of the righteous teaches many, but fools die for want of wisdom. The rich man's wealth is in the city.
And to this day, the crisis in the UN, if you want to know, is the continuing demand of the so-called third world for a voice in strategic IMF policies so that they become sensitive to our interests.
Fixation of the soul is vanity. Destruction of the poor is their poverty. The poor man's wealth is in a holy, holy place. Why do you fight each other? Why do you kill your brother? Then your reward will be the same.
It was a terrible experience. You're just constantly, it's like you're just living a walking contradiction every day of your life. So you can imagine that we eventually had to go to them and eventually had to sign an agreement with them. It was really one of the bitter, traumatic experiences of my public life.
Jamaica was discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1493. Not too long after, it was settled by human rubbish from Europe, who used enslaved but noble and exalted human beings from Africa to satisfy their desire for wealth and power. Eventually the masters left, in a kind of way. Eventually the slaves were freed, in a kind of way. Of course, the whole thing is, once you cease to be a master, you're no longer human rubbish. You're just a human being, and all the things that adds up to. So too with the slaves. Once they are no longer slaves, once they're free, they're no longer noble and exalted. They are just human beings.